Statistically, the Russian economy is in better shape now than before the sanctions were imposed, notwithstanding the enormous expense of the special military operation in Ukraine. Statistically, we all know that the Ukraine war is virtually over, even though the Congress of the United States is making noises now that if Joe Biden goes along with certain domestic issues having to do with immigration and a wall to retard the flow of immigrants in the Southwest, that the Congress may come up with another 60 or 70 billion for Ukraine. Do the elites, do the neocons still see a glimmer of hope that they can pull this rabbit out of a hat, or do even they recognize that Ukraine is over, that it was a disaster, that the values behind it, which you've just been critically describing, no longer subsist, and it's time to focus their attention elsewhere?
Yes, they recognize. I'm certain of that now. They recognize this war is over, and what's more, they don't believe that it can be resumed. And all we're doing now, and all we're seeing, is ways of trying to create a narrative that the West has won. Again, that the West has won because Putin has failed. He didn't take Kiev, he didn't capture the whole country. And they impute that as a fact, that this is what Putin was seeking. Whereas we know very clearly, and was later demonstrated, that what he was doing when the troops went near Kiev was to try and sort of push people towards a negotiation. And then the negotiation happened, if you remember, in March of last year, the previous year. And of course, Britain and America told Zelensky and Kiev, forget it, just keep the war going. So they want to, if you like, let down, find a narrative that says, we still won. But it's not going to work because Russia isn't going to play with that narrative. It's not going to negotiate the stalemate as they hope. Russia will negotiate, yes, but only one thing. They want capitulation. They expect capitulation and the removal of, if you like, the neo-Nazi elements from the regime. So it's not going to happen, but they're still scrabbling around. And they can't go on long because what they are resorting to now is simply firing long-range missiles into civil Russia, into civilian cities of Russia. And, you know, this isn't a military operation any longer. This is terrorism. And even the United States is not going to be able to go on very long with just simply firing lots of rockets into Belgorod in Russia and to killing lots of civilians going out doing their Christmas shopping. So I don't think it can last.
How dangerous is it for world stability that the munitions being fired at Russian civilians were manufactured in the United States?
Well, probably the last ones were manufactured in the Czech Republic, but it's the same thing that we're seeing in Gaza. It makes one complicit, and Gaza is providing shining a very clear light on the whole of the war on Ukraine. The attacks now by Ukraine on civilians living in Russia, inside 91 Russia. I mean, nothing to do with the Ukraine, attacking civilians, causing many deaths, I mean, is unacceptable. It is a war crime. And the states that are supplying the long-range missiles for that, therefore, are complicit in a war crime against Russia. And, you know, Ukraine is making this point very clearly. And the recent ICW action about genocide also underlines the point about criminal action against a collective population.